Like after a hysterectomy, let's talk about it. I did not find a lot of information on recovering from a hysterectomy when I went and I was looking it up. I had my hysterectomy June 18th. It was originally supposed to be a laparoscopic robotic hysterectomy. But when my surgeon got in, she realized that, yeah, we're going to have to open her up completely. So mine went into a abdominal hysterectomy. So being that my hysterectomy turned into an abdominal instead of robotic, abdominal means they have to open up the complete area. I went in June 18th. I was supposed to be there at noon, so of course I was there, I think like 45 minutes early. And when I got there, I was like, okay, I get checked in and everything. I wipe down my body with these little warm wipes that they give you to use. My family was there, helped me wiping down and everything. So I'm like, okay, so I'm thinking the surgery's gonna start at 2 p.m. Y'all, was I so wrong. When pre-op came and got me, they came and got me like 2:45. Y'all, I was in the pre-op holding into 7 p.m. Now, when they came and got me, they told me that my surgeon ran into issues with a surgery she was doing before mine. So she was behind, but y'all, I wasn't thinking that far behind. Y'all, 7 p.m. rolled around. I'm being wheeled into the OR. Now, I know this because when I got in the OR, the first thing I did was look at the clock. I remember scooting from the bed that I was in over to the operating table, and they started the anesthesia. They did everything they had to do, and then all of a sudden, I hear, I need you to take some deep breaths. You're about to go to sleep. Right before that, I was about to start hyperventilating because it was feeling like I could not breathe. Yeah, I was out. So my family said they got the call around 9 p.m. that my surgery is gonna have to be turned into a abdominal hysterectomy. Yeah, I woke up at midnight exactly. And the first thing I said when I woke up is, where's my family? And my family was right there. I was being wheeled back into my room. My family was right there, and I looked at the clock. I said, what time is it? And I was told it was midnight. I initially said what went wrong. Yeah, the first thing I initially started feeling was pain. And I'm like, this didn't go as well as planned. And that's when my family started telling me what happened. And my surgeon, when she came around, it was already late. And I was in and out of it, so I don't remember everything that she was saying right then. Y'all, I woke up the next morning. I was in tears. I was hurting just so bad. I was on IV pain medication by mouth. Then on top of that, they was giving me Tylenol through the IV as well. Yeah, all of that barely kept my pain at where it needs to be. So my surgery was on a Thursday. The Friday was 24 hours. They removed the catheter, and I was able to get up and start walking around a little bit. So Saturday, I started feeling better. I was eating. I was walking. I was doing everything they told me to do. So we made the decision that I could go home. Here's where things take a turn. I was so excited to get home, y'all, because the surgery happened on my son's birthday. And it was supposed to be an in and out procedure. So I was telling my baby, I'm like, I'll be home and we can celebrate, afterwards. I'll be a little sore, but yeah, didn't end like that. But Saturday, I was released to come home, and I was fine. By the time I got home and everything, the ride home was hell, but I was fine. So I get home, and I'm like, okay, I already know I'm not gonna have much of an appetite because I didn't have much of one when I was in the hospital. Only reason I ate because I was pretty much being forced to eat. So I get home. I remember I took two bites of a mozzarella stick that my sister had made, a few French fries, and that was all I ate. So around 2 a.m., I started getting this weird feeling in my stomach, and it was a lot of pressure. So, of course, I'm initially thinking it's gas pain. So, I eventually started taking gas medicine because, they fill the stomach with air. So, they could see what they was doing. And considering they had to fill mine with air and then turn around and cut me open, yeah. So, I'm sitting there. So, Sunday, I spent all day in the bed. I was, very, very uncomfortable. And I just kept noticing how swollen my stomach still was. But I'm like, okay, I'm only like, what, 72 hours out of surgery. So I didn't worry about it much until I started vomiting again. Yeah. So I immediately called my surgeon. And that was like, you need to contact the on call doctor so they can tell you exactly what to do. So I did that, and I was initially told to go back to the emergency room due to it being so early after surgery. They had to, redo imaging and things like that. So I went back. I went to my local hospital, and I was politely transferred back to the hospital that I had my surgery in. They said my bowels was moving like really, really slow and sluggish due to the anesthesia. So everything that's sitting on my stomach is just sitting there. It don't have nowhere to move. Y'all, these folks end up putting an NG tube, and if you don't know what an NG tube is, it's a little tube that goes through the nose, down the throat, into the stomach to drain whatever is in the stomach. They put the tube in. I got sick like 3 or 4 times trying to, swallow and swallow and swallow so I could swallow this tube. Yeah, when I got to the transferring hospital, when I tell y'all, it was hell. My NG tube came out. I had already told them my tube is coming out, my tube is coming out. So they just came out. I had to go through all of that crap all over again for them to re-put the tube in. And I'm like, at the same time, the nurses was okay, but my surgeon was like, I need to come and see you so I can see exactly what's going on. She just happened to end up having surgery that day as well at the same hospital. So after that surgery, she came up. Her whole team came up actually, and when I tell y'all, I will. You know what? I'm trying to say it an easier way, but I don't want to put that on myself because my surgeon is at a cancer center. It's called West Cancer Center. And when I tell y'all, that team was on it. I did not see one wrong thing that my surgeon team did. Every question I had, they answered it. Every concern I had, they answered it. Y'all, I even had got to the point where I was feeling so. My surgery team made sure everything was, you know, good. They even got to the point where they was managing my pain. I mean, when we did find a course of the pain management that worked for me, it was one of the situations where they was on it, especially when it came to my pain medicine. But when you're taking a narcotic, you end up constipated. That's one reason that they tell you to take stool softeners probably like a week before the surgery. But in my case, it did not help me. So when my surgery team came up, she did her evaluation and everything, and we figured out that okay, my stomach is just moving a little slower. But I have had previous surgeries, and because of the scar tissue, is one of the reasons I had to be open completely up. With that, bowels moving slower. Y'all, I went 2 full weeks before I was able to use the bathroom, and that's because When I was released from the hospital, I came home and I did a laxative at home. That was the only way I was actually able to have a bowel movement. So anesthesia does stop the flow of everything. So make sure y'all are on your stool softeners. So after being admitted for 2 weeks, I was able to come home, and when I came home this time, I was like, okay, we're gonna take everything a little bit slower than I did the first time because I don't want to end up back there. And that's what I did. But I did not expect all of the complications. So I had a abdominal hysterectomy. They removed my uterus, my fallopian tubes. They also removed my left ovary. Even though the game plan was to keep the ovary to stop the menopause from happening because I only had one ovary. But I found out that I dealt with ovarian cysts, which is one of the reasons I had to have my left ovary removed. No, not left, right ovary removed first. So she was like, when she initially got a good view of everything, she could not comfortably leave that ovary there with the cyst on it. She was gonna try to just remove the cyst from it, but it was too much damage, so they had to take it. So of course, I don't have no ovaries. I don't have anything. So I am basically 35 dealing with menopause. Okay. Granted, hormone replacement is what was next. So let's talk about the things nobody wants to talk about. And I'm doing this for educational purposes or for any woman that has dealt with the same thing that I'm dealing with. One of my main symptoms that people don't like to talk about is depression. Now, I was put on a hormone replacement patch. It's called Dottie. And I'm not going to lie, when I started taking the patch, it helps with my hormones. That it definitely does. Not only does this medication help with that, but it also helps with the other symptoms like the night sweats, hot flashes, and stuff like that. It does help with that, but I do notice the dotted patch has to be changed twice a week. So when it's getting closer to the end for me to change the patch, my symptoms intensifies and it comes on very strongly. So I was, sitting here trying to figure it out. What is best for me? What do I need to do? Why am I crying? Why am I so depressed? Why is everything getting to me? But it's something that we have to deal with as women. Another thing that they don't tell you about is the insomnia. Now, I was already on medication for sleep before my surgery because my insomnia was so bad. So now imagine it times two. So I am still on my same sleep medication, but I do notice I have to take it like an hour and a half then before I was taking it. You will not feel like yourself for a minute, y'all. I am 6 weeks post-op, and honestly, I'm still not back to myself. And I say that to say this because so many women suffer in silence when it comes to things like this. And I wanted to definitely be a voice behind it because I want other women to know you're not alone in this fight. I have a good support team. And with that, that's one of the main things that's helping me get through this. Because, like I stated before, I'm 6 weeks post op and I'm still having issues. They ended up leaving a piece of my cervix because it was just too much and they couldn't get to where they needed to get to remove that piece. So I do still have to see a OB and have a pap smear done every year. But other than that, I can say okay somewhat. because especially when it's time at nighttime for me to go to sleep, y'all, if I do not use a sleeping mask and earplugs, I will not go to sleep. I literally be sitting up scrolling on my phone all night long. Listen to your bodies, because I have stairs in my home, and unfortunately my bedroom is upstairs. And I've known, I shouldn't have been going up and downstairs, but my bedroom's upstairs. So I made the choice to go up and down the stairs just a little bit, but it's one of the things where I go upstairs. I'm upstairs for the day. I'm not coming back down. I have my kids, my family, everybody try to help me to see exactly what I need. But when I'm up there, I don't have to come back down. So I have tried to increase my activity with hoping that will actually help me. I end up taking my kids to a water park this past weekend, and I'm still feeling the effects of that. When I tell you the fatigue is horrible, I can be doing the smallest thing, and out of nowhere, I start feeling like I've been hit by a bus. When I tell you my body is still very sore and hurting, I actually sit in the tub last night, I think so, just to try to soak my body because just how bad it was hurting, y'all. And I'm one of them type of people. I have a high pain tolerance, but I also have a nerve condition. So I take pain medication on a regular. Y'all, sometimes that pain medication ain't talking this pain. But I pray about it and I try to, keep going for my day to day. When it comes to recovery wise, I went to my first 2 week appointment with my surgeon because her office is like maybe 45 minutes away from me. And I did not have transportation costs to keep going back and forth, but I did go and see another OB that's in my area, and he told me everything was okay. But he did switch my hormone patch because he said he feels like it may be a little the lining left from the piece where they left the cervix. So he feel like doing that plus the estrogen and progesterone. Y'all, hold on, I done killed that. Yeah, we ain't even gonna try that again. But adding a second progesterone to the estrogen that I was already doing. He feel like that'll work a lot better for me because I was straight up with him and I was told him my symptoms, from the night sweats, hot flashes, down to the severe depression. And he pretty much told me, this is your new norm. But it's one of those situations where it's not necessarily this is a new norm for me, but it's one of those things where you got to get used to. And that's definitely something that I got to get used to because I can't do what I've been wanting to do, I mean, another thing that is really bad is the brain fogs and memory. Y'all, I could be in the middle of doing something and completely forget what I was doing. And when I heard that as being a symptom, I'm like, that ain't gonna happen to me. Yeah, I lied because it does. Like I said, I could be in the middle of doing something and I completely forget what I was doing. And I'm like, okay, get it together, girl. But at the same time, you got to give yourself that extra grace period. Another thing I would say is do not compare yourself to others. Some people may have a faster recovery. Some people, like myself, may have a very slower recovery. But just know you're going to recover. You're not alone in this fight. I don't mind answering questions, giving knowledge, or whatever you may have. But, ladies, reach out to me. You just somebody just want to talk, reach out to me. My inbox, my DM, everything is open. I do not mind talking, explaining, telling my story, telling about my symptoms. I don't mind because I know how I feel to feel like you have absolutely nobody in your corner when it comes to dealing with this. I know that feeling of depression to the point where you don't want to get out of the bed. I know how it is to hide in a dark room to try to keep it, keep your kids from seeing you cry. I know all of this, and like I said, I'm willing to help, speak to, talk to anybody that needs it. So feel free, add me, follow me, inbox me. I'm gonna talk. So I hope this video has been a little helpful for some. I do plan on continuing to go on my recovery journey, and I do plan on documenting it because everybody is different. Now, one person is the same, not one surgeon is the same. So, this experience you may experience with somebody else may experience something totally different. So, get at your girl.